My name is Kelly Dale, and I'm coming at you today from Off the Beaded Path. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week and that you enjoyed last week's video on how to make the herringbone hoop earrings. Today, I want to show you a bracelet that I've made to match the earrings. I'm calling it On the Rocks Bracelet because it looks like little tiny rocks or stones laid out on the bracelet, and I really like it. It's very good for people who like really petite style of jewelry. Excuse me. Just know it's one strip that we're going to use with a button clasp closure. You can use a regular clasp if you want to, completely up to you, but I'm going to be using a little Swarovski button. Also, don't think just as one wrap. You can make this into a wrap bracelet and do multi wraps around the wrist depending on how long that you're going to make your first strip of beads. So what you're going to need today is some size 8 seed beads. This is going to be the base of the earring. You're going to need 19 4mm bicones, and this will make a 7-inch bracelet. So if you need a bigger bracelet, you're going to need more. If you're going to need a smaller bracelet, you'll need less of those bicones. You're going to need about 190 size 15 seed beads, 64 size 11 seed beads, 4 yards of 8-pound fire line. Now you can use 6-pound, but I found that for this bracelet, the 8-pound works the best. And then you'll need one size 10 or 12 beading needle, completely up to you. Now we'll go ahead and tell you, one of the things I get a lot of questions about is what's the difference between a size 10 needle and a size 12 needle. A size 10 needle is a little bit of a stiffer needle, and it has a bigger eye to it in the actual top of the needle. A size 12 needle is a little bit thinner as far as the gauge of the needle, and the eye at the top is smaller. Size 12s are really good, especially if you're going to go through size 15 seed beads multiple times, whereas a size 10 would be a little bit harder to do that depending on the size thread that you are using. So that's the difference between your needle. You can use a 10 or a 12 for this project. It doesn't matter. I do find the 12 works a little better, but whichever one that you have on hand will be fine. So go ahead and get your materials together, and then we'll get started. This is the bracelet I'm going to show you how to make today. This one is black and silver, the steel color. It matches the kit earring from last week, where I used the silver bicones with the black and the gray. So this one will kind of go with that if you purchased a kit or made something similar to it. The thing I love about this bracelet, it's very petite, but when you get to the end, you've got this really cool surprise of the really pretty Swarovski button. It loops into a loop of seed beads that you make, and that's how it clasps. So you've got this really nice, just skinny bracelet that has an unexpected surprise at the clasp. So this is the black and steel one, like I said, and then this one actually is my favorite. This one is the metallic gold iris with the metallic gold iris 15s and a gold champagne crystal. The button is a volcano. Can't remember if it's volcano or Bermuda blue, but again, it just has the loop clasp with it just like the other. And this is just a really simple, easy bracelet to make up. Like I said, you can make this into multiple wraps, so if you wanted to do multiple strands, you could do that, or just do the single one like you've got here, and that'll be fine. To get started today, I'm actually going to be using a turquoise Picasso size 8 seed bead. And I've got my needle with 4 yards of thread. I'm going to pick up 2 8s. The only thing you're going to be using right now are 8s. I'm going to pull these down, and you want to leave about a 10-inch tail. Take the needle and go right back up through the first 8 that you added, just the first one, and I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to pull my thread. So what'll happen, just like last week, your 2 beads should sit side by side. Take the needle and go down through the second 8. And I'm going to go back up through the very first 8 one more time. We're going to be doing herringbone, but it's going to kind of be just a one-sided version is what we're going to do. And you'll see how this is going to work out. Pick up 2 8s, take the needle and go down through the 8 right next to where your thread is exiting. So it's the stack here on this right hand side. Now if you're left-handed, you're going to be doing all of it on the left, whereas I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be doing all of this to the right. Okay, so my 2 new beads sit on top of my old 2 beads. I'm going to take the needle and I'm ready to step up. So I'm going to step up through the top 2 8s on this left hand stack. So I'm going to take my needle and go right through the 2 beads that I've got there. Okay, pick up 2 8s, take your needle and go down through the top 8 on this right hand stack, just the top bead. And as you can see, I keep my finger on those beads to keep them in place as I work. Ready to step up, so go up through the top 2 beads on this left hand stack. Okay, so I'm skipping the bottom bead and going through the top 2 beads of the left hand stack. So far you have 3 rows. Pick up 2 size 8 seed beads, take your needle and go down through the top bead on the right hand stack. Again, you can see I'm keeping my fingers on those beads. You're ready to step up, so go up through the top 2 beads here on the left. Do this one more time for you. Pick up 2 8s, go down through the top bead on this right hand stack, and then you're ready to step up, so you're going to go up through the top 2 beads on the left hand stack. So right now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
You'll want
rows.
to continue adding the stacks of beads until you have 78 rows. 78 rows will make a 7-inch bracelet. If you need less, or if you need a smaller bracelet, do less rows. If you need a bigger bracelet, do more rows. The only thing you have to remember is it needs to be an even number of beads. So an even count number, so like 2, 4, 6, 8. It's got to be an even number of beads when you finish the stack. So go ahead and get it to the length that you need, and then I'll show you how to start the embellishment on the top.
Once you finish your 78 rows, this is what the piece will look like. My thread is exiting out of the top on the left hand stack. I'll take the needle and I'm going to come down through 3 8s on this right hand stack. Those top 3. Pull the thread all the way through. Go up through the 8 in the left hand stack right next to the bead that you're currently exiting. Pick up 1 size 11 seed bead. Take the needle and go down through the bead that you were exiting, so that's that 3rd bead, and then through 2 more beads. So you're going through, actually through 3 beads. So you're going down through the bead right next to where your thread's coming out, and then 2 more beads, so that when you pull, that size 11 seed bead will sit right on top of the size 8 seed beads. You're coming out of this 3rd bead here. You want to come up through the size 8 right next to where the thread's exiting. Pull that thread all the way through. Pick up a size 11 seed bead. Go down through the bead right next to where your thread is exiting, and then through 2 more beads. So you're going to be going through 3 beads each time. Pull the thread. Pull it on through here. There we go. So now you have 2 beads in place. Come up through the size 8 seed bead right next to where the thread's exiting.
Pick up one size 11 seed bead. Come down through the bead right next to where the thread is exiting, and then on through 2 more 8s, so that you're going through a total of 3 8s. And now that 11 will sit just like this. You're going to continue adding your 11s all the way down until you reach the very end of the bracelet. The last 11, go down through the last 2 8s in your stack, and then you're ready to start actually adding the crystal embellishments over the top. To do this, I'm going to come up through the 2 8s here in the left hand stack. So the 2 8s, and I'm going to put my finger on it to hold it in place, and then I'm going to come through the 11, so it's that last 11 that I added. Pick up one 4mm bicone, and I'm going to go through the 11 right above the one I'm coming out of. I'm going to pull that thread. Go down through that same bead that you just added. So I'm going to put my finger on it and pull that thread straight down. And then I'm going to come back through the size 11 seed bead in the same direction that I just went through it a minute ago. So that way, when I finish, that 4mm is anchored on each side of the size 11 seed bead at the top and at the bottom. And it's nice and centered. You're ready for your 15s, so you want to pick up 5 15s. Take the needle and go through the 11 right above the 4mm, so that when you pull, those size 15 seed beads are going to wrap around one side of the 4mm. Then you want 5 more 11s. 5 more 15s, and then come through the 11 at the bottom of the 4mm, so that now once you pull that thread, your 4mm will have a set of 15s on each side of it. Take the needle, you're coming out of the 11, go up through the 4 8s in this right hand stack. So it's the 8 right below where the 11's at, and then 3 more, so that you're coming out right at the next open 11. Pull the thread through, and then take the needle and go through the 11 seed bead. Pick up one 4mm, come through the 11 right above the one you're coming out of. Go back down through the 4mm that you just added. So I'm going to stick the needle through, put my finger on it so it'll stay nice and tight in place, and pull that thread straight down. And then go back through this bottom 11 the same direction that you went through it just a second ago. So I'm going to take it and come right back through it, so that now, again, just like the first one, this 4mm is straight and is anchored on each side of the 11 at the top and the bottom of it. Pick up 5 15s, take the needle, go through the 11 right above the 4mm, and then 5 more 15s, and you're going to go through the 11 at the bottom of the same 4mm, so that again you'll have 15s on each side of that 4mm. Now this time my thread is exiting to the left, so I'm going to go through the 8 right below the 11 that I'm coming out of, and then 3 more, so I'm going through 4 total 8s to get up to this next 11. You're going to continue adding your 4mm with your size 15 embellishments all the way up the bracelet. Each time you'll be alternating which way the 4 you'll be going through. See, down here I started on the left, then I started on the right, now I'm back to the left. So you'll be going from left to right, but go down through the whole thing adding your crystal embellishments. Once you've added all the embellishments on the top of the bracelet, this is what the piece will look like. I've come out of my last beads here on the end, and I'm coming out of the stack here on the left hand side. I'm going to go ahead and add my button. Now the button I'm going to be using today has a shank on the back of it. The Swarovski buttons that will come actually, if you purchase them on our website or you purchase a kit, they actually have a hole through the back of them just like this. So what I'm going to do, coming out of where I'm at, I'm going to pick up 2 11s, the button shank, and 2 11s. Now I'm going to take that bead and I'm going to come right down through the 8 on this right hand stack. And it's okay, like on my button shank that I've got here, the beads, it moves in the beads and that's completely fine. On your Swarovski button, it won't do that. It'll stay centered exactly like this. I'm going to come back up through the same 8 here on the left hand side. And I'm going to reinforce the button. So I'm going to go back through all of the 11s that I added and the button and back down through the 8. I'm going to reinforce this several times and then tie this thread off. I have the button added and tied off, and now I'm ready to do the loop on the other end. If you're adding the 12mm Swarovski button, you're going to pick up 22 size 11 seed beads. This button that I picked out is just a little bit bigger than the button on the other bracelet, so I'm going to take and basically pick up enough size 11 seed beads that when I make the loop, it will go around the button snugly, but not so tight that it's hard to get it on and off. So I'm just going to kind of keep testing and trying. And I'll stick my needle through the 8 on the other side so that I can see my loop, and I can already tell that loop's going to be way too big because once you put it in, it's got a lot left. So I'm going to take off a few beads here, and that's what you'll want to do. You'll just want to test the loop, so you'll add your beads and then add or take away as needed, but you just want that loop to be nice and exactly made for the button. Now it looks like I took off too many. I'm going to add a couple more and then we'll be set. So you go down through the 8 on the other side so that it makes your loop. Come back up through the 8 that you started with here on the first side. And then you're going to reinforce the loop by going through the beads of the loop again and then back down through the 8. You can reinforce this as many times as you've got thread to do, and then tie the thread off with a couple of half hitch knots. So this is the finished piece now that you can see that I've got it completed. The beads on the top look like little rocks. That's why I call it on the rocks bracelet. And then you've got that fun button closure. We will have kits for this color, which is the purple gold iris, and then this color, which is the black with the steel. We'll have kits for both of these, as well as the written pattern for sale on our website, which is off the beadedpathbeadstore.com.